morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, one and all, to this Veterans Day ceremony. It is the veteran, not the preacher, who has given us freedom of religion. It is the veteran, not a reporter, who has given us freedom of the press. It is the veteran, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is the veteran, not a campus organizer, who has given us freedom to assemble. It is the veteran, not the...
Let us bow our heads in prayer. Almighty God of our Heavenly Father, we bow our heads in thanksgiving for another opportunity to come together on this Veterans Day to recognize and honor veterans who have served in the military. We acknowledge you as the only true God. To you we give the first honor. As we gather here being kissed by the breeze of the trade winds in humble recognition of your divine providence, we beseech you to usher into our world of confusion and doubt the peace and tranquility which come from you. We are grateful for the many blessings we have received from you. Today we express a special thanks for our safe return home after our tour of duty in the military. We are thankful for the many victories this nation have won because of your intervention. Many veterans are still wearing the scars of war. Many have mental illness, diseases, and other service-connected disabilities. But Father God, we are very thankful for spared lives. Even as we are remembered and honored today for our service to preserve the freedom and democracy of this and other nations, we ask your blessings for our families who endure the anxieties and hardship while waiting expectantly for us to return home safely. For those veterans with medical issues or who are still nursing the...
Please remain standing for the Virgin Islands Army National Guard, 73rd Army Band, as they render the national anthem and the Virgin Islands March. Also remain standing, for thereafter we will pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing just for a little while longer. I now call upon Catherine DeLugo Jensen Reimer of the Post-90 American Legion, who will conduct memorial tribute to our POW MIA. Present, Order, Thank you. You may be seated. I now call upon Patrick Farrell, the Director of the Virgin Islands Office of Veterans Affairs, who will conduct a welcome and introduction of our platform guest.
Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good morning. And I'll try to make this as fast as possible since we're beginning to have some type of inclement weather. It's passing. I just looked to the back because, I wanted to look at a good friend of mine, that's all. So, Governor of the United States Virgin Islands, and again, Governor Albert Bryan Jr. Morning. Lieutenant Governor, and again, Tregenza A. Roach, Esquire. Today, we also have the President of the Virgin Islands Legislature, Senate President Donna Fred Gregory. And as I call her name, it starts to rain. We also have the pleasure of having with us today, ladies and gentlemen, the United States Secretary of the Interior, the Honorable Deb Haaland. Madam Secretary. Joining her today is the Assistant Secretary for Insular and International of the Department of Interior, Carmen Cantor. We have with us representing the senior. So because we are not able to do that because of the weather, we brought him here with us today. So out in the audience, we have Captain Noel Boyne Sr. and his family from the great island of St. John, right? Our honoree for the St. Thomas district, Warren Cap Hendrickson. This man gets some support. A lot of family, great. We also have with us senators from the 34th legislature. I do see Senator at-large Bolquez. I see Senator Carla Joseph, my great classmate. I saw Senator Marvin Blyden. I saw Sergeant and Senator Dwayne DeGraff somewhere. Oh, there he go. There he go. Any other senators that are with us? Please stand to be recognized. I can call your name real quick. Okay, great. So I did good. I got everybody. We also have my lovely colleagues of the Governor's Cabinet. I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge the Commissioner of Education, because without your, I'm going to call them troops, without your troops, we'll have a very, very minimal parade. So thank you, Commissioner, for answering the call and having your students and staff out there today. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, I'm going to allow the program to go on. Thank you very much.
I'm not seeing Kojo. Is he here? He's always here. He's in St. Croix. Director Farrell, veterans, enlistees, family, and friends, good morning. Good morning. This is a good morning. We're celebrating our veterans, and we're having showers of blessings. And I have a little inside joke with the Lieutenant Governor and Director Farrell about every time I come up to speak in an open space like this, it rains. Always blessings. So good morning, everyone. The members of the 34th Legislature and I joined the entire Virgin Islands community in celebrating and honoring your service to our nation and to our territory. Every day, we should honor those of you who have given our nation and our territory the highest form of service by becoming a member of the United States Armed Services. Veterans Day is a reminder of the adage, freedom isn't free, and it's accurate. Freedom isn't free. You selfishly wore the uniforms of the Army, the Navy, the Marines, Coast Guard, Air Force, and Space Force, and sacrificed so much for our freedom. Our nation and our territory owe a debt of gratitude to all veterans here and abroad. It is a debt that cannot be paid. However, we can ensure that those of you who have secured our liberties are treated with due respect and are provided with the resources needed when they have completed when you have completed your tour, have been touched. Those two words followed by action evoke true meaning. Today, on behalf of my family and the members of the 34th Legislature, thank you. Thank you. It is a thank you weighted by gratitude, appreciation, and love. Thank you for giving of yourself to our nation. Thank you for stepping up to secure our freedom. Captain Noel Boynes, Sr. of St. John, and Mr. Warren Cap Hendrickson of St. Thomas, thank you. You have not only provided service to our nation, but you also made significant and continue to make significant contributions to our Virgin Islands community. As grateful as we are to our veterans, let's not forget their families. It is your families that shoulder the burden of sacrifice. The love and support families give to us, and it's all of us, it's not only the veterans, supports the backbone of this nation and this Virgin Islands. It is fitting that we give special thank you to our silent everyday heroes, spouses, mothers, fathers, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and children, and all of us, friends. Let us as a community commit, and this is my ask, let us as a community commit to holding up in prayer all servicemen and women and their families, not only today, but always. God bless you, and God bless your family. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I now call upon the Bowski School to make a presentation.
Good morning, all. My name is Imani Otley. a science and social studies teacher at the Yvonne E. Milinabowski Elementary School. Today with me, I have some of the students from the school from grades kinder to 5th grade. Each student was asked to write a thank you letter thanking each veteran for their service. As a teacher, I felt the importance of having the students take part in this parade because all citizens of the United States should recognize the sacrifice that veterans have made to ensure the protection of our country. At this time, I will ask all veterans to stand, please. Don't sit as yet, sorry. Veterans, please know that each letter was personalized just for you. On the envelopes, there's an address that you could always pen pal the student. Feel free to do so. Students, go ahead and give it to veterans that are standing. And then stand under the shade, the tent. And then I would like to have Director Farrell, please step forward.
I told him this up because it bumped into that his fellow. No, you finished. You finished.
Boys and girls, there are a few veterans up by me, so when the rain hold, you can also make your way up this way. Director Farrell, on behalf of the kindergarten class at Bowski Elementary School, instead of doing a general individual letters, they did one big poster that she could hang at the office and a banner with each child's name on it. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day. Last but not least, I would like to say Happy Veterans Day to my parents, Imogen Hodge Otley and Clarence Otley.
Senate President Fred Gregory, distinguished panel and the head at the platform, cabinet members of the government of the Virgin Islands, most importantly, veterans, families, friends, well-wishers, good morning. Dr. Maria Nesbitt is a combat veteran, life coach, and two-time international best-selling author, a motivational speaker. She was born and raised in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. She enlisted in the United States Army in 2000. Employment, our service to this great country. Dr. Nesbitt also heads the Vietnam Veteran Support Group here. She re-established that support group here in St. Thomas with our Vietnam veterans. And I know they meet regularly once a month and is helpful to them as well. She holds a master's degree and a doctorate in healthcare management, which of course, where she is the readjustment counselor at the clinic. She is currently embarking on a program where it's a Mission Connect. It's a call center for veterans so we can make sure that we reach and touch all our veterans in the territory, especially our homebound and shut-in veterans, so we can make sure that we do that body check to ensure that they are safe, they are taken care of. And we at the American Legion are proud to join her in making sure that this Mission Connect happens. I present to you Dr. Maria Nesbitt, Readjustment Counselor for the Veteran Affairs Administration.
Wow, that sounds like a great person she was just describing. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this day with you. Yes. Yes. Don't cover my face, though. I wanted to acknowledge the kids that were just here. I remember growing up in this island, and at that age, I didn't know what a veteran was. In my teens, I didn't know what a veteran was, and I lived with a Vietnam veteran. and I did not know what the word veteran meant. It wasn't until I myself became a veteran that I actually knew what that word meant. And I learned about the people that came before me, the people that paved the way for me to be here today with you. It is my honor to speak with you today. Today is a day of gratitude. Today we're grateful. A day that we acknowledge the service of the brave men and women who, despite the sacrifices and despite the risk, they raised their hand to defend this nation. Today we celebrate you and we honor everything that you have done. And I am honored to call myself your sister in arms. You've served this country with honor and distinction, and you did it not for recognition or not for fame, but to protect our way of life. You are among our nation's elite, the less than 1% of America that joins the military. Your selfless service helps to keep this country and its citizens safe, and for that, we will forever be grateful. For your service to our country, I thank you. For the days and the nights you were away from family and friends, all the missed moments, missed holidays, birthdays, special events, we thank you. For the scars that you now wear and the wounds, both visible and invisible, this nation can never repay you. For the long days and the lonely nights spent in isolation and sometimes in uncertainty, we are forever grateful. I would also like to acknowledge the family members, those who helped to shoulder the weight and the burden of their sacrifices. To the mothers, fathers, sisters and brothers, extended family and friends, your selfless service and your commitment to our freedoms, we also thank you. I've been to a lot of these events, right, being a veteran, and we always hear the same words. You know, all the accolades. We hear a lot of the same things about veterans. We hear how brave they are, how honorable they are, how much we care for them, how much we cherish them, how much we treasure them. But the veterans in this community, they surpass a lot of those accolades that we hear all the time. I know sometimes you will be in a room with a person and you don't know that they're a veteran because unless you're a veteran too, they're less likely to tell you. But I do have to say, being on this island, I feel safe a lot because these men and women are here. And even though we've taken the uniform off, they will continue to serve and they will continue to protect. After taking the uniform on, they continue to serve. Most of them have set aside one uniform to pick up another uniform. They are our doctors, our lawyers, our law enforcement, our teachers, our educators, our community leaders, our volunteers. In every corner of this community, you can find a veteran on any given day, given back, even though they've already given so much of themselves. And for that, we will forever be grateful. But the most inspiring thing about our veterans here in this community is their willingness to always make sure that no veteran is left alone. Many of our veterans here, from all eras, all generations, they always look out for one another. Like the commander mentioned earlier, I run a Vietnam veterans group monthly. And I inherited that group. And it's grown over the past 2 years. But one thing I've noticed is that every month they come back, and they come back, and they tell me more, and they tell me more. And they're becoming more open about all the things that they've been through and that they've carried for over 50 years. But not just that, every time we have a new member in the group, these veterans always welcome the new veteran and always make sure that they feel welcome. There's one case in particular, this was a few months ago. We had a new veteran, new to the island, and I invited him to the group. He said, I don't like groups, I don't like people. I'm like, oh, just entertain me, just come. If you don't like it, you can leave. So he came. Of course, he sat in the corner like most veterans would. And he's like, well, I'm not gonna talk, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm like, it's okay, that was our deal. You can come, you can sit there. And the other veterans noticed that he was sitting over there alone. And I was like, it's okay, he doesn't wanna talk today. So they knew what it was like because most of them in that room had been through that process, been through the group, didn't want to talk, been in the corner. So to make that veteran feel comfortable and safe, one veteran got up and tell his story, a painful story that he's only told maybe twice in his life. And then another veteran got up and did the same, and then another, and then another. And by the end of that 2 hours, all the veterans were able to share stories, things that they've kept inside for so long, things that usually cause them to feel pain, feel hurt, feel all the traumas, relive everything that they've tried to put away. But to make sure that that one new veteran did not feel alone, they were able to again make a person. For all that you have done so that others can persist. For all that you have lost so that others can gain. For all that you have sacrificed so that others never have to go without. For your willingness to raise your hand and leave everything behind to venture in a world unknown. I thank you, we thank you, this nation thanks you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nesbitt. And I want to recognize the principal of the Yvonne Bowski School, Ms. Daphne Gonzalez-Thomas, was here with us. Even though she's left from our presence right now, just want to recognize her. The next item on the program is a selection from the 73rd Army Band. Unfortunately, they had to leave from among us. They are on their way to St. Croix, where they again must continue to carry on with their lovely music. And so,
a few years ago, CAP was in the 73rd Army Band, was then the 666 Army Band. But not only that, we had the responsibility of, for every veteran funeral, once the law was passed back in 1990, to present a flag and taps to the deceased veterans' family members for their service. Thank you for their service. And at one point, it was just the full-time staff that was continuously doing this mission. And CAP came up to me and said, look, you ain't gotta do it like that anymore. We can take it for you. So he formed a group within the National Guard, and they started to do the service. And prior to him, I remember Vincent Lettsome. Since he retired from the National Guard, he has now joined the American Legion. And of course, being the good man that I am, I told him his first duty is to start you will be in charge of our funeral honors team, where we will also go out and render the same honors to veterans and our veterans in our group. Since that time he has started, just this year alone, we have did over 7 military funeral honors for comrades in the American Legion alone. This year we have lost over 14 members between January and last month. And of them we did 7 military funeral honors because of CAP, because of the things that he have started with the American Legion. And we just thought it was fitting for us to present this plaque. And this is just the first part, Warren. It got something else coming. Because with every, as Maria said, and I think the Senate President said it as well, the silent persons behind the veteran is actually the family member. And every time we are gone, there's somebody there to take up the slack for us. Me personally, in my 32 years, my parents, my brothers, if it weren't for them, I don't think I would have made it to where I made it to this day. And I know for Warren, he would not have made it to where he is without Annette, Deshawn, Valerie, and Devon, and everybody else who was behind him, his brothers and sisters and everybody. So Warren, on behalf of the American Legion, Post number 90, Patrick Hugh George, here in St. Thomas, we present you. We want to thank you for your unwavering support and service to this community and your selection as the Veterans Day Parade Marshal for 2022. Thank you. Thank you.
in so that things wouldn't be undone. I call upon Commander Harry Daniel from the Post 131, who will make a presentation to our St. John honoree.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Harry Daniel, the commander of Post 131 on the island of St. John. Sorry that we couldn't get our program going on St. John because of the weather. But again, we follow wherever it leads me, I will follow. So today we would like to make a presentation to Captain Noel Boynes Sr. I've known Captain Boynes ever since he came back from the military. I was still in Sprout School. That's to tell you how long ago that was. Captain Boynes has done tremendous work and increased tremendous opportunities on the island of St. John. As the owner of Boyson Barges, their motto was bridging the gap between not only St. John, but bridging the gap between the whole world. Today, Captain Boynes, the entire St. John